Hi everyone, and welcome to Vente Weaving classes. Today we're going to start off our first video by making a DIY budget weaving loom. To do this I went off to B&Q and got a piece of wood from the scrap pile that you give a donation and you can take the piece of wood. I also went and got a bunch of nails from them as well. If I remember correctly, it was about £1.60 for the nails. This way we will be able to make a loom where it's cost effective and we will be able to weave samples and learn how to weave by using this DIY budget weaving loom. So to start off, we need to make a point where we can hold all our warp ends together. So in order to do this, I decided that we will use the nails to hold the warp ends. So we'll wrap it around the nails and that will hold your warp in place. For training purposes, we're not really concerned about the density of our warp and weft yarns at the moment. We're really just wanting to learn how to weave at this moment in time, and we can go forward from there with a more complicated weaving loom at a later stage. To start off, I got myself a wee straight edge, and what I'm going to do is put it down onto the board like this. Okay, and what we're going to do is every ½ centimeter we're going to make a marking, and that's where we're going to put a nail. This would be shown as a warp end. When you start running the warp ends through your units. So to start off, I decided that we will go around about 10 centimeters from the edge of the board to the section over here. So this is where we're going to start making our warp ends over here. So now what we're going to do is make a marking on this side, which is ½ centimeter, ½ centimeter, ½ centimeter, and we carry on doing this all the way through. Now it doesn't need to be 100% exact as before. This is just a training loom, so this is going to give us the opportunity to learn how to do our weaving patterns, of which we'll cover up in different videos. But for the first video I decided that the best opportunity was to do this weaving loom first, so that everybody is prepared and ready for the next lessons that will come along. So I think this is going to be an exciting time for everybody that wants to learn how to weave and understand the principles of weaving. So as soon as I'm finished here, we will move the board over and repeat exactly what we've done this side on the opposite side of the board. Okay. So as you can see now, we've got all these markings on this side, and we will then put nails into this area, and that will be holding your warp ends. We also need to make sure that we don't go too shallow into the wood, because we don't want the nails to pull out of the wood. Also, as you can see, we got quite a relatively decent spacing between all of them. One of the important things with weaving is to avoid congestion as much as possible within your warp ends. So if you were wanting to go a little bit tighter, you could always go a centimeter above and start with another row here. This will give you a tighter warp ends, which you can use at a later date if you feel you want to do that. But for this, the purposes of training, we're not going to worry about doing that at the moment. It's more important that we learn how to weave and we can make a more complicated weaving loom, or purchase a more complicated weaving loom at a later date once we are at that stage of training. Okay, so I'm going to turn the board around and do the opposite side quickly. Again, your 10 centimeters, that's what I did on this board. So it should give you roughly around about a 36 centimeter weaving width area. So you should be able to pull a 30 centimeter piece of cloth off this weaving loom. Again, it's just for training purposes, so you won't expect to have a take off and let off on a loom like this. So here we go again, every ½ centimeter we make a marking on the board, which will be your point of your nails. Again, don't worry about being exact on this. It's not vitally important at this moment in time. It will be at a later date when we are worrying about endage and the density of which we're going to be weaving out. Then obviously this will become a point where we need to be more careful with what we do, as in spacing with the weaving warp ends. Also, we need to try and avoid having congestion in our yarns if we're going to do complicated weaving on this type of board. Okay, so that's all done. All the markings have been done on the board, as you can see. So what we need now is a really old hammer and a few nails. So the nails that I got are 30 millimeters long at 1.6 millimeters round circumference. So, okay, obviously this one is not meant to be in there for some reason. We'll just put that one aside and we won't worry about that one. So if you put your nail onto the point where you've marked, like that over there, and smack it in to about that deep. So if I were to measure from a 30 millimeter nail, we're around about 20 millimeters height. So we've pushed that nail in by 10 millimeters, which is a pretty good depth. If I believe that shouldn't cause any issues with it coming out. Also, to remember to try and keep your nails as straight as possible when you're doing this, so that you don't have any angles when you're doing this. Okay, so we finished putting in all the nails into the board. As you can see, there were quite a few nails to do. So this is the one side and the opposite side. So what we'll end up doing is wrapping the warp ends around the nails, and I'll show you how to do that in the next video. What we'll be using for inserting the weft yarn into the fabric will be a 15 centimeter ruler with a hole in the end. So we'll just tie the yarn into that and we will run it through the weaving when we do it. The next video we'll be using what we call a hemp yarn. This obviously comes from the hemp plant, which originally is the family of the cannabis industry. But this is not cannabis yarn. This is a hemp that has been used, that is grown for seeding for birds and things like this. So the stalks and everything like that has been stapled down and spun into a yarn. We will start this weaving of this fabric, well, this yarn, in the next video. And thank you for watching, and hope to see you in the next video. Thanks everyone, bye.